Thank you, Aishwarya. Now it's time to introduce our second guest. It's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Pampi Ghosh, Madam. She is working as Assistant Professor in Botany, S3 level. She is MSc B.Ed, PhD, NET, JRF, SLATE. She has completed BSc from Presidency College, Kolkata in 1994. Now it is Presidency University. She has completed her MSc from Calcutta University, West Bengal in 1996. She is awarded with PhD in 2017 from Department of Botany and Forestry, Vidyasagar University, West Bengal. She is presently working at Seva Bharati Mahavidyalaya, Kapgari, Jharkhand, West Bengal. She has completed 2 minor research projects on ethnobotany funded by UGC ARO Kolkata. She worked on soil AM fungi. She has published 37 research papers in reputed and national and international scientific journals. She is one of the editorial board member of International Journal of Integrated Research Development from 2014. And she has reviewed so many research papers. She is advisory editorial board member in Journal of Scientific Research in Allied Sciences from 2016. She is a reviewer of Journal of Threatened Taxa from last few years. She is permanent reviewer of Journal of Pharmaceutical Research International since last few years. She is co-author of book Prayog Vittik Vanaspati Vidya and contributed 5 book chapters including elsewhere. She has attended many national and international conferences. She has conducted webinar series and worked as an organizing secretary for international conference and 2 national conferences. I heartily welcome you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your brief and up to the mark introduction of our second guest. Now, be ready, everyone, for the valuable lecture of Dr. Pampi Ghosh, madam. Now, I am inviting you, Dr. Pampi Ghosh, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon, one and all present in this virtual meeting room.
Good afternoon.
I am not Pampi. Actually, my name is Pompi Ghosh in Bengali.
Okay,
Pompi
sorry,
Ghosh.
ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
No, no,
Wrong pronunciation.
sorry. Okay, actually, now I am trying to share.
Screen share कर.
Ma'am, please unmute your mic.
Is it visible, madam?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay. Then good afternoon, one and all present in this virtual meeting room. Thanks to all organizing committee members of this one-day national webinar on fungi in human welfare for giving me opportunity Chain. Sorry. So, thanks to all organizing committee members of this one-day national webinar on fungi in human welfare for giving me opportunity to speak about the fungi on agriculture and forestry. Thanks to the convener of this webinar committee, Dr. Chaya K. Balsankar, Madam, AJMBPs on New Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shepgaon, Ahmednagar, Vice Principal Dr. Y.S. Sudake and Principal Dr. P.R. Tunde of the college for inviting me and giving me opportunity as guest speaker. Myself, Dr. Pompey Ghosh, Assistant Professor of Botany, and title of the topic is Fungi in Agriculture and Forestry, a boon to human welfare. Actually, our previous guest lecture, Professor Avinash Ade, very well said about and explained about fungal welfare and touch all the aspects. So, and the time is very short, so I am in hurry and I am trying to shorten my lecture. Actually, previously sir said, and I am also to say that fungi are nothing but a group of spore-producing organisms feeding on organic matter through the production of extracellular enzymes and unable to swallow but can absorb the dissolved food materials. And that's why fungi are different both from plant and animal, and they have both the qualities that like very tiny fungi, they can't do any photosynthetic activity, but they have the similarity with plants, and they can produce extracellular enzyme. That is the ability of animal, and they have that. So they are in between the two. So as early it was a branch of botany, as all of you know, but these eukaryotes are in separate kingdom, and this is supported by and differentiated by Whitaker, Holmes, Cavaliers, Mead, Rugerio, and all. And so I'm in the next slide. So when I actually here most of the participants are fungi. Participants fungi want to know about fungi, and they are students. So when in class we tell about students, do you know about fungi? Then first thing come to your mind that very rotting something, and these are the fungi. And this winter season, this is the very common thing to you that oranges are spoiled, apples are spoiled, and how? By some fungi. So when I am telling about fungi as the boon, but before that, you have to know that not only boon, but they have so many destructive activities. And from these destructive activities, we come to know their ability to do so many things, and we are converting them to our mankind in biotechnology and the production of medicine. And in first slide, you can see the orange is spoiling. And what may this? This may be penicillium. And you know about the activities of penicillium and the revolution in medicine. So fungi are abundant worldwide, isn't so? That is, they are present in air, water, soil, everywhere, because they are tiny microorganisms to big macroorganisms. That is, they are very inconspicuous because a very small size when they are present in everywhere. They were present in everywhere, but you can able to see them through the microscope. They are unable to see you in naked eye. When they are in aggregate, only then you can realize that this is something and this is a fungi, maybe a fungi. So you know about yeast, you know about Phytophthora, all these things, all these fungi, and now due to net and Google, you can visualize Dermatomyces titanicus, a huge, big fungi of Basidiomycota family, the Basidiomycota under a Lyophiliaceae family, and it is found in West Africa, and its cap may reach up to 1 meter in diameter on a stipe, up to 22 inches in length, like a large size umbrella. So what a great thing. Then microscope. Then I come to show you some macroscopic soil fungi from soil. In soil, you can see several types of fungi, and when I am saying about this, you can visualize mushrooms, isn't it? Very good thing and very tasty, and now it is cultivated in everywhere, and this is a great entrepreneurship that so many educated and uneducated personalities, they are cultivating this mushroom for their business purposes. Okay, and these are the mushrooms. You can see all these mushrooms and macroscopic fungi. When in this study book you read that mushrooms are edible fungi, but I am saying that all the food bodies, all these food bodies, this one is edible. Okay, and this is available in our West Bengal, and you can understand all these others, these are not edible. Okay, that these colors are telling you. Then this is another common soil fungi. Acha. Here you can see the mycelia. Can you see? I think you see.
Yes, ma'am.
As fungi from mycelia, which are not noticeable in naked eye, but you can see this huge growth. Okay, this is a soil Basidiomycota, and you can see these are the food bodies. This is not edible. This is disease causing, and you can see in pot this can cause the rot on the stem. It can cause on stem or leaf stalk, and this is the result. Okay, and these are the food bodies. How tiny these are. Okay, so as fungi from mycelia which are not noticeable through naked eye, they may become noticeable when fruiting. I can say you either as mushroom or as molds, and this is a photograph of mold on the turmeric leaf. Now these are not under fungi, but I can show you that these are the another thing which can also cause rot, and as it is from my garden, so I am interested to show you this. Okay. So fungi perform essential role as decomposer. They not only do the disease. Why I am telling about decomposer? Because in this pot I use vegetable peels, and so they grow in huge amount. Okay, so by this way they decompose the organic matter and have fundamental role in nutrient cycling and exchange in the environment. Now I am trying to show you fungi on wood. How beautiful they are, and this is a huge, and this is edible. Okay, this fungi is edible, and this is Auriculata judae, ear fungi. You, I think you may know, and this is Lentinus squarosulus, and in my garden some lots are there, and then they grow, and this time I cook it, but this is not tasty, though this is edible, and though all these are wood rotting fungi, and you can see them and how beautiful they are. Okay, next, these are again some fungi outside and inside the stem. You can see this in this whole tree. This place is broken or somehow injured, and here some fungi is popping out, and this is a sugarcane stem, and after cutting it I saw this rot. You know this red rot of sugarcane, and this is the fungi in microscope. So different type of fungi in our world, from soil to air to wood to living being, everywhere. And this is the mushroom. Very accustomed, all of you are very accustomed to it. This is button mushroom and this is western mushroom, and these are cultivated one. But I am showing you these mushrooms. These are easily available in our local market, but cost is very high. This mushroom, this is Termitomyces, though this mushroom is not ectomycorrhizal mushroom, but these and these are ectomycorrhizal. This one is I think saprophytic. This one saprophytic. This was this was Rosulla, and this is very abundant in our salt-dominated forests. All are salt-dominated, and these are very costly. These are up to 500 rupees per kg, but very much tasty. So, I come to next slide, that is beneficial aspects of fungi, as our sir previously said all of this. So that is they are producing citric acid, antibiotics, some model research organism, as yeast, neurospora, these are model research organisms because of their very short life cycle. They produce humans and foods, and I will tell about all three things only here: biopesticides, decomposers of the ecosystem, and biofertilizers. And all these are beneficial, but I will focus on three things only. Okay, biopesticide, decomposers of the ecosystem, and biofertilizers. And then, as fungi are very small to very large size and present in everywhere, so and they have no ability to do photosynthesis, they have to associate with some other living being or something, so that they can take food or accumulate food for their own. So they have three type of association with others. What are these? First of all, as I showed earlier, that is they cause several type of diseases. So that type of relation is known as pathogenic diseases association, pathogenic association. And in this previous slide, I show you red rot from my garden, and in your syllabus there are black stem dust of wheat, loose mass of wheat, and athlete foot is not plant but animal disease, and it is very common. And there are about 300 fungi pathogenic to human, and that very and in a recent time in COVID, about black disease, black lung disease, and others, and these are very pathetic type of disease. Now next thing is saprophytic association. That means they are depend on dead or rotting animal or plant body. That is I show you as wood fungi, and they live on dead woods. That is, they in this way they decompose the wood. Otherwise, it will stay there in long and long time. So this is a value in the ecosystem and in environment. That is, decomposition also is needed. So in the food web, there and food chain, fungi take place a important, very important place. Okay. Then last one is symbiotic association, and in this symbiotic association, both fungi and other plants, that is algae and higher roots, higher plant roots, both are involved, and algae and plants both are interacting with fungi and get help from each other. That is symbiotic association. And after getting making so many research work, now scientists can produce so many biofertilizers from this theme. Okay, so next slide. How fungi are involved in agriculture and in forestry, though this they are not literate, but they are doing so. But as we are human beings are doing research and every time depend on others. Actually, human are depend on others and taking all the good things from the nature for their being. So from the fungi, they uh, uh, they think that they get knowledge. Actually, they gather knowledge that fungi are not only decaying element or pathogenic element, but they help us in so many ways. Now, fungi and bacteria both increases the decomposition of organic matters. Otherwise, all dead bodies will remain lie everywhere. Okay, and by this way, decomposition of organic matter, they increase soil nitrogen and sometimes and most of the time converting them into protein, and that will help us through the consumption of mushroom to get it. And again, fungi when associated with higher plant roots, they form an association, that is symbiotic relation, which all of you know as mycorrhiza. And in this association, fungi only take carbon from the host plant, but it helps it host plant in so many ways. How? By giving it nitrogen and phosphorus from the soil. And plant can absorb this nitrogen and phosphorus from soil, but fungi help them in catching both of these very easily and transferring these things to roots of the higher plants. Then also increase water holding capacity and also help them to absorb several micronutrients, that is copper, zinc, and so many, and also help them to avoid or struggle with stress and also avoid the stress condition. Next, when I am saying about positive role, then I have to also say about some negative role of fungi in the agriculture. How? There are about 30,000 different diseases caused by fungi, bacteria and virus, and which attack commercial plants. Okay, and that's why they cause tremendous economic loss. There are some diseases like a damping of disease. In this slide you can see a damping of disease. Okay, then potato blight, early and early blight, late blight, wart disease, mildew disease, ground nut tica disease, sugarcane, that I show you on other slides also. And this is rust disease, ergot of rye, and this is soft rot of ginger, and this is very common to in kitchen. Okay, these are diseases, and these are the negative roles. Okay, not only fungi affect agricultural plants, but large forest trees also affected by these fungi, and these are the diseases. In a salt plant, here Polypora sodi causing ring, and these food bodies are seen outside the stem, and shishu plant, and how this affect the log you can see. And here tick plant and positive agent Ansinula tectoni. Okay, and first they affect the leaf, but later destroy the total stem. So how they are destructing all the vegetable plants, trees. But now I am coming to next slide that they have so many positive role in agriculture and forestry. Some fungi produces disease among annoying insects harmful to crop and thus help to destroy them and keep them in check and act as fungal biopesticides which can be used to control plant diseases as well as some pests and weeds. Two of the most common commercial biopesticides are Trichoderma species and Beauveria bassiana. In next slide, I will try to show you. Actually, Trichoderma can be used against wide range of pathogens, including fungi like Rhizoctonia, Fusarium, Pythium, Phytophthora. And in the previous slide, I show you that these fungi causes several diseases like wilt, mildew, so many things. Many insect pests can be controlled by the growth of fungi such as other fungi like Empusa, Metarrhizum, Cordyceps, etc. Now, nematophagous fungi. You may know about nematophagous fungi. That is, these fungi can trap the nematodes which are present in the soil. And as example, Arthropods, Oligospora, and this is used widely as a nematicide. Okay, now actually Drestler reported that these are some predaceous fungi in the soil and they trap and destroy the nematodes. Some species of these predatory soil fungi actually form loops on the mycelium. These loops act as noodles. They tighten and strangle the nematodes as they try to pass them. The mycelium later sends out special hyphae to absorb nutrition from the capture. Actually, in this slide, I think you can see this nematode and captured by fungi. So there the conidia germinate to produce hyphae which penetrate into the tissue of the host of the nematode and absorb the nutrients so that nematode being killed. Okay. Symbiotic fungi like earlier I said the mycorrhizae like ectomycorrhizae or M fungi help to get high yield of crops by making the soil rich with nutrients and increase useful microorganisms necessary for the growth of the plant in agriculture and forestry. Now we are very accustomed with synthetic fertilizers and this is man-made nutrients come in pure form, allow farmers to get quick result but decrease the growth of beneficial soil microbes and make the environment polluted by releasing harmful gases and contaminates groundwater through downward leaching of the chemical fertilizers. But AM can be used as fertilizers because they contain natural components which do not harm the plants but do the vice versa. Again, Ham fungi destroy those harmful components from the soil which cause disease in the plants like Alternaria solani which cause wilt, and plants can also be protected against drought and other strict conditions by the association of AM. Alternaria solani can be destroyed by using Ham and they can check the growth of Alternaria solani. Now next, these are the biopesticide as a Beauveria. You can see work on these insects and here nematodes how they attack this by this fungus symbiotic relation I told earlier, and now I just going to mycorrhiza. This is a symbiotic relation, as earlier I said you. That mycorrhiza is a symbiotic association composed of a fungus and roots of higher plants. In a mycorrhizal association, the fungus colonizes the host plant roots either intracellularly or as arbuscular mycorrhizae, you say, and extracellularly in ectomycorrhizal fungi. These fungi cannot be grown in pure culture, okay, because they need host root, living host root, and must be grown in association with plant roots. They form plant structure called arbuscules, you can see, and vesicles. Here I will show you later. Arbuscules and vesicles, and as they produce arbuscule, they are known as arbuscular mycorrhiza. The arbuscules are the site of nutrient exchange between the fungi and the host plant rootlets. Next, in your syllabus, you read it that mycorrhizae are different types: endo, ecto, and ectendo. Actually, ectendo is between endo and ecto. When endo means when fungi produce hyphae within the root cortical cells, or ecto means when they are outside the cells, they are producing mantle or hardignate, etc. And ectomycorrhizae, this is with the two characters, that is ectendo. Next, that is the symbiotic mutualism. How this form? Actually, in soil, so many fungal structures are there, and when the condition is good for fungal structures germination, like sclerotia, rhizome, spores, they attack the roots, attack not for pathogenic purpose, but for their living. And in this way, they take, actually fungi take carbon from host rootlets, okay, and plant, and then they give plant nutrient, water, enzymes, antibiotics. That's why this is a symbiotic mutualism, okay. And I am trying to show you, these are my work, and from my work I see this type of relation, and you can see these are the roots, okay, and these are the fungal structures, you can see, okay, and direct relation. And this is not mine, this is from net, because I cannot do this type of photograph. And now I have to give you some short type of talk about different type of mycorrhizae very shortly. First of endomycorrhizae, what I said earlier, and I just want to say you that endomycorrhizae are 5 types: arbuscular, ericoid, arbutoid, monopteroid, and orchidoid. And this is only based, this classification is based on the host plant, okay. Now, vesicular mycorrhizae, it is the endomycorrhizae, and these are belong to earlier you heard it from sir, that is they are under Zygomycotina, and Ascomycotina will also do Zygomycotina, and other groups do not form such. And now they form hyphal network, and they form arbuscules and vesicles. These are the arbuscules and these are the vesicles, balloon-like structure. These are the vesicles. And actually arbuscules and vesicles, these are the structures, and they are the identifying characters. Okay. Next, orchidoid mycorrhizae. Orchid mycorrhizae are symbiotic relationship between the roots of plants of the family Orchidaceae. As I said you earlier, that is this classification is based on the host only. And a variety of fungi. All orchids are mycoheterotrophic at some point of their life cycle. During the symbiosis, the fungus developed structures called pleotomes within the root cortex of the orchids, and this is very essential for the establishment of the seedlings. Okay. Now, ericoid mycorrhizae. Ericoid mycorrhizae is a mutualistic relationship found between members of the plant family Ericaceae and fungus. And these fungi are under Ascomycota and Basidiomycota. And plants are rhododendron, alnus, betula, etc. And they show this type of mycorrhizal association. Next, monotropoid mycorrhizae. Monotropoid mycorrhizae occur in the species of Monotropa. And Monotropa is a non-chlorophyllous plant growing under forest trees like Fagus, Pinus, Quercus, Salix, etc. And Monotropa and Assoid trees are connected by mycelium of the common mycorrhizal fungus Boletus. Okay. Then arbutoid. And arbutoid mycorrhizae are like those of ericoid and monotropoid, found in the plant order Ericales. Okay. Then I am coming under ectomycorrhizae. Ectomycorrhizal hyphae do not penetrate the host plant's cortical root cells. Hence the word ecto, that means outside. The fungal mycelia extend inward between root cortical and epidermal cells and form a network which is known as Hartig network or Hartig net. And this is the site of nutrient exchange. And another structure, fungal mantle, which actually serves as protective sheath and a site of nutrient storage. So these are ectomycorrhizae, and ectomycorrhizae produce food bodies, and often they are used as foods like Russula, Amanita in our place. These are very commonly found in our local market. Okay, I show you these slides earlier. Now I come to ectendomycorrhizae, and one special type of mycorrhizae, and this is confined to conifer species like Pinus and Ladyx species. This association is characterized by the unique combination of a fungal mantle, Hartig net and intercellular hyphae, the latter forming soon after Hartig net development, and this is between endo and ecto. And now I am in general classification of M. fungi. As I work on actually M. fungi, I stressed on this, and this is under order Glomales, and 3 families. This is earlier classification. Now this classification is white, and under Glomaceae, Glomas, Clostris, Acolospora, and Enterospora under Aculosporaceae, Zygospora and Scutullospora under Zygosporaceae. And how you can see them, and under the soil and under the microscope, when you can extract them from soil with your expert hand, otherwise you can't. And these are the fine structure which you can see under your microscope. These are the different spores. How beautiful they are. Okay, this is Glomas, this is Sclerocystis, this is Acolospora, this is Enterophospora, this is Zygospora, and this is Scutullospora. Very beautiful structures. Okay. Now, actually, I am stressing on M. fungi, and how M. fungi in agriculture and forestry they help. First of all, they increase nutrient uptake, then increase water uptake, capacity of the host plants, improve soil aggregation, improve phosphate uptake, improve plant tolerance against stress, improve plant to resist against pathogenic attack. And I am telling about glomalin here. What is glomalin? Glomalin actually is a glycoprotein produced abundantly on hyphae and spores of the M. fungi in the soil and in roots. Glomalin actually is improving soil aggregation property and stability and decrease soil erosion. There is a strong correlation between glomalin-related soil protein and soil aggregate water stability. in a wide variety of soil where organic material is the main binding agent, although still the mechanism is not known. Now, in laboratory, how do you produce M or VAM inoculum? Okay, when we are using M as biofertilizer, to use it as fertilizer in agriculture or inoculate these with tall big trees. Okay, sand soil mixture, you have to take only sand soil mixture 1:1 and autoclave for 1 hour at 1 degree Celsius, and it is known to you all the PG students. But one thing you can remember, it is in your during your study you did it for 1 hour at 120 degrees Celsius, 15-pound pressure. But when you do sterilize, when you have to do sterilization for VAM inoculum, you have to do the autoclaving process for consecutive 3 days. Okay, otherwise other organism will active. Then sterilized earthen pots filled with 2 kg sterilized sand soil mixture are taken for mass culture. 20 gram pure inoculum was used as a host sterilized Sudan grass. You know, I think Sudan grass is very good host for M. And filter water was sprayed every day for 3 months to produce inoculum. And no, this is not. And after production of inoculum, we have to harvest and finally store it in cool place from direct sunlight, and you can use it up to 2 years. Okay, as fertilizer. And as in our institute facility was not good, so I have to purchase all the inoculum, pure inoculum for CNBRCD Bangalore, and these are the inoculums. And how can you see the spores? And simple mechanism, only the sieve, water and dropper and filter paper. Okay, now after filtering, what you can see, this finally see, this is a fine line of spores. Okay, here are the spores, and you can pick each and every spore through wooden dowel, and under microscope you can see. Okay, and these are the structures, various structures, hyphal structure inside, you can see inside the root. Okay, and outside the root, these are the M. fungal hyphal structure. Okay, and this slide I want to omit. These are the spores. Earlier I said you that these are the spores, and these are the glomalin spore, and after picking the spore you can see such type of structures, and these are not scanning, and these are only under compound microscope of my compound microscope. And this is Zygospora, this is glomus, and this is Acalospora. You can see the structure securely, and this is different from other. Okay, and in of Zygospora, no hyphae is present here, and glomus hyphae present, and here securely present. Okay, and these are the arbuscule, and very interestingly vesicles, and this is Acalospora vesicle. You can see this is not only balloon but something notched like. Okay, and this is different from other M. fungi. And these are the simple structures and some coil structures. You can see coil structure also present inside the root cortical cells. I have vesicles. Okay, and this is I show you because if you want to do this work, this is unnatural. In Cyperaceae, they are not actually shown, but I find it. Okay, and these are the spores which I tell you earlier. These are the spores, and some impurities are there. And finally, after picking each and every spore, okay, this is the slide, and these are the spore curves. You can see. This is the large structure, and this can you can visualize gritty structures through naked eye also. Okay. So through for pot culture in experimental condition, I take not agricultural crop during my PhD. I take periwinkle, okay, as medicinal plant. I work on it, and for that, for inoculum, I take Glomus mosaic, Zygospora, and Acolospora levis as inoculum as well as biofertilizer. Okay, and for this, I take sterilized garden soil and 2 kg per pot, and after inoculation with all 3 M spore, what are the result after 120 days? Just see. In case of uninoculated control means there is no microorganism, and in each cases no microorganism except Glomus mosaic, Zygospora margata, Acolospora levis. Okay, so you can see in each and every case leaf area square centimeter increase in case of all the 3 inoculated M spore. Okay, in mean leaf number also, in shoot length also, in root length also, dry biomass also, wet biomass also. So you can say that M is acting as biofertilizer and also helping its host to grow better and better. Okay, so graphically you can see it how that is in this pink one is uninoculated. Okay, and you can see here all structures, leaf area, mean leaf number, shoot length, root length, all are increasing when we are inoculated with M fungi as biofertilizer. So this is a symbiotic relation, and this symbiotic relation helping the host plant to grow better. So this is the boon. This is the boon, and this is we are using for our agriculture. So this is not widely using, but one day we have to use this biofertilizer for our mankind. Now the remaining portion, actually dry biomass increase and wet biomass increase. So we can say that host plants, as you know that most of the host plants are dependent on mycorrhiza. There is a symbiotic relation, and during my research I get above 90% plants are related with mycorrhizae and dependent with, not I can say dependent on mycorrhizae because I have not done all the work, but as this is a relation and not harmful to host plant, then there is obviously a relation that is good. So one term told by Jardiman in 1975 as a mycorrhizal dependency. And what is this? Mycorrhizal dependency is the degree to which a plant species is dependent on the mycorrhizal condition to produce its maximum growth or yield of a given level of soil fertility. So I can show you how mycorrhizal dependency is seen here. In Catharanthus roseus, that is periwinkle plant, you can see in 90 days, 120 days, 150 days, 1 days. In all the cases, you see AAA. That means all are totally dependent on mycorrhizae. Okay, according to DMRT test, you can see. Okay, but in case of Kalanchoe pinnata, my other experimental plant, you can see that they are dependent highly on 180 days, but in case of other, they are not dependent at the same level. So you can say that Catharanthus plant was mycorrhizal dependent in all the cases, but Kalanchoe pinnata is different from that. And this is the reason that you have to do research that which plant is more dependent on mycorrhizae and which type of mycorrhizae. That means Acolospora, Glomus, Prospora, Zygospora, and then you can make it into biofertilizer to make more production. trusted soil health mitigation process is M. fungal culture in West Bengal. And though this is only my review and some research work, but actually I have not done still on tall trees. Okay, and this is experiment on mango ginger. Actually, this is a crop plant. You know about mango ginger, that is Amada, I think. And in this case, you can see, and this is a recent paper published. In this case, you can see I take 7 type of side soil, and in these soils you can see the spore density per 2 kg soil, because this is a simple experiment I have done. And in this case, 2 kg soil from the side take and potted the Amada stock, and initial weights are here. Okay, and after 6 months, what I can see, that is final weight, and all the cases increases. Okay, but there is a difference of increase and percent of yield. You can see here in third case, gopher and hill. This is the highest amount of yield, but you can see spore density is more in gopher. But why this is a but why here yield is more? In another paper I published by me, that I show ant hill is a good repository of spores, and these spores are very much active. How I can tell that? Because the spore walls are very clear. Okay, and their color is also very distinct, so that you can tell that they are vivid. Okay, and you can see that this yield percent is directly related with the percent of spore present in the soil. And when agricultural soil is taken by me, these are with least number of spores. Okay, so when we are using pesticides and fertilizers, chemical fertilizers in our field, they are gradually decreasing. Spore number and spores activity. Okay, and this is the paper recently published by me. Okay. Now we can conclude, and how we are in a hurry. So what we can conclude then? Then fungi play a crucial role in every ecosystem, even they are cryptic. That is very small to big, I said earlier. And fungi perform important service related to water dynamics, nutrient cycling, decomposer of the system. They feed on decaying organic matter and thus returning nutrients to the soil for plants for use. Okay. Then fungi are only decomposers that can break down wood. Okay. And the cellulose in plant cell walls show they are the primary decomposers in the forest. So if they are not in the forest, what will happen, we don't know. Mycorrhizal fungal association with host plant roots increase the absorption of nutrients like phosphorus, zinc, copper, and thus enhance the growth of crop plants and forest trees. Plants with mycorrhizal fungi have greater access to organic nitrogen pools in compared to non-mycorrhizal plants, according to research. M. fungi occur in 90% of all vascular plants, including most of the important agricultural species, except Brassicaceae family. Okay, whereas ectomycorrhizae are found in most of the economically important tree species of the temperate regions and some tropical trees also. So this type of symbiotic associations are important in crop and biomass production in agriculture and forestry. Recently, M are utilized in fumigated soil for research purpose and also production purpose and greenhouse crops and in the reclamation of disturbed sites. Ectomycorrhizae are employed in the establishment of trees in nurseries, in reforestation and the production of containerized seedlings. Okay. Russula, Boletus, Lactadius, they are present in the sal forest and pinus forest as ectomycorrhizae, and often they are edible. M. fungi can be used to produce biofertilizers, which is essential components of organic farming that play vital role in maintaining long-term soil fertility and sustainability. So, I am acknowledging all of you, actually Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, and Madam, Bhalashankar Madam. Actually, she contacted with me, and she was not known at that time also. So thanks to all and all my beloved students and professors and for sharing this, for lesson sharing, and these are reference, and thanks to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your graceful and delightful lecture. You covered different types of fungi in agriculture and forestry, and some beneficial aspects of fungi also. Different types of forms, or different forms of association found in fungi. So, thank you. Definitely, this information will help us to improve our knowledge. Thank you, and also helps in all participants of this webinar. Is there anyone have questions about the both sessions? Anyone have any question? Participants, please ask your question if you have any queries. Okay. So now I will call to Mr. Gaikwad Akash for or to express a vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. It's my great pleasure. I got this opportunity to this express vote of thanks to all eminent personalities. I express my deep sense of gratitude to the Professor Dr. Avinash Ade sir. He delivered an exhaustive and enlightening lecture on fungi in human welfare apart from your busy schedule. Thank you very much, sir. I also would like to express my heartiest gratitude to Dr. Pompey Ghosh ma'am for delivering such an excellent talk on fungi in forestry and agriculture, a boon to human welfare. Thank you, ma'am. I express my sincere thanks to Principal Dr. Purushottam Kunde sir and Vice Principal Dr. Surke sir, giving permission to organize such a nice activity. Your inspiration is also helpful. I also express thanks to Head of Department of Botany and all teachers, Department of Botany, for organizing this national webinar. It is certainly beneficial to all participants and students. Thanks to again all of you. On behalf of Principal, I declare the program is over. Thank you.
Thank you, Avinash sir and Pompey ma'am. Even apart from the busy schedule, you accepted our invitation and you joined and you make the successful webinar. Our webinar is successful. So thank you very much. I will contact you soon.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
झाले का लेफ्ट होत हा झाले का ओके
Feedback link will be